Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Wrestling Gab. That's Talitha. I am Travis, and we have to go. No, just kidding. Anyways, we are here to review Raw, as Raw was on at 4 p.m. Eastern today. Now, remember, next week they're going to be in the same area code, or whatever you call it over there. But there is a time change coming next week. I think it's on Monday. And therefore, it will be on in the States at 3 p.m. Eastern at noon Pacific because of the time difference.
Yes.
But they're in the same area.
They're finally going to do their daylight saving time.
I think they're in London, England.
England. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us. If you are here in the background, thanks for being here. If not, that's all right, too. If you are able to watch this and you have Netflix and you do not want spoilers or to know who won or anything of that nature, do not stay. Because we are going to talk about the matches, we're going to talk about who won and tell you who won, and then we're going to leave. All right, everybody.
Like a tree in November.
Once again, this is Raw, WWE's Raw for Monday night, and they are still doing their European tour right now. Okay, the first thing of the night or day that happened was John Cena came out. He came out, I guess, and talked and told all the fans how horrible and awful they were and that he hates all of them and then he was mean to a kid and all this other stuff. I feel like it's probably not as grandiose as when he tries to beef up the crowd to because he's a good guy. I feel like it's probably all flat. But that's just my opinion. I didn't watch it. So, anyways, he talks about the championships that he's had, yada yada. He talks about Ric Flair, so on and so forth. Basically about a lot of champions and how many championships they've had over the years and how he's had multiple championships and he's amazing.
Well, there's been so many belts, it's hard not to have a championship.
Right.
I mean, shit, Liv Morgan's had a championship.
Exactly.
It doesn't make it special.
Not anymore.
Daniel
Not really.
Bryan's had a championship. Freaking, there's so many people that have had championships. I mean, in the old days, it used to be something special. But nowadays, to be a champion is just like, oh, it's your turn in line.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's what it kind of feels like. I've said it with the women's championships and who they put it on. It makes them completely irrelevant. They literally mean nothing. It's such a participation trophy anymore that everybody gets it because they smiled right that day or whatever. Oh, yeah. Goody gumdrops, you got all D's on your quizzes. You get a prize, you know.
Once they went into the 2-belt era, it became a lot less important to be the world champion.
Right.
/ WWE champion.
Right. And so John Cena's yakking at the crowd and getting them all riled up with hate. Cody Rhodes came out.
You know, I missed the first 40 minutes of this because I forgot it was on.
That's all right.
So I missed this. And I started watching right after they ended.
You basically probably did because it sounds like
40 minutes.
With 5 paragraphs of information of what John Cena supposedly said and did, I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
It's really hard to recap something that neither of us have seen.
Well, I'm reading what actually was said. I mean, these people basically on this website basically tells you everything. But anyway, so Cody Rhodes comes out and confronts him and asks him, oh, what'd you say? Probably about championships and all that stuff, hating on the people and everything. Old John and how that's terrible. That all of a sudden now he hates the people and he's not for the people, he's for himself and everything. And then they started talking about the championship itself. And Cody Rhodes' way of getting at him was something like, okay, so quote unquote, the mistake was saying that you just said in front of these lovely people while I was in the building. Does that bother you? Because here's what bothers me. I don't have to unload and unpack our history, but you of all people, John Cena, should know how hard I fought, how violently I fought just to hold this. He's holding up the championship belt.
Of course.
One time. Just to validate one name. If I understand you correctly, you were saying that the timeline of all professional wrestling hangs in the balance because of your vanity. you want to take this, right? Well, that's what you said. You want to take it, and then Cody lays the title in the middle of on the mat in the middle of the ring. And so he said to him, I'll give you the opportunity right now to take it. They drop their microphones, and then John decides just to walk out of the ring. And then Cody picks up his microphone and yells at him, "One thing, John. One thing. I cannot let you do it. I can't have that on my conscience. Right now, I need you to see me. I need you to see all of them. And I need you to understand that your psychotic need to take this does not outweigh our right to keep it. The champ is no longer standing there. The champ is standing in the center of this ring. And seeing you walking away empty-handed, John Cena, that is how you walk away from WrestleMania. And that's how you walk away from the WWE." So basically, Cody Rhodes is calling him out, blah, blah, blah. And John Cena is trying to say that he belongs in the category of Ric Flair and the greatest ones
maybe
who
even Hogan
have won it so many times, right, and everything like that. You know, he's won a high championship 5 million times, and he's, you know, not held him for very long, but he's had him. So basically the same crap we see all the time with them. Anyways, Robbie's in here with us, says, "What up, you frauds? I saw Raw today was disappointing." Not surprising.
I also saw the last 2 hours of it.
Anyways, after that, they then did a video recap of last week's Intercontinental Championship with Braun Breaker and Finn Balor, which of course doesn't surprise us any, right? Because that's a big deal, and they're in Scotland, in the UK, United Kingdom area, and you know, Finn is from that area, one of those countries.
Ireland, yeah.
Anyways, Stephanie's Places they were talking about is going to debut on ESPN Plus this Wednesday.
So
if
that's
anybody
what I
cares.
missed.
If anybody cares. CM Punk, Triple H, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Charlotte Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rhea Ripley, Pat McAfee, and The Undertaker are slated to be guests. They didn't specify which one was first
Punk,
but
it's definitely Punk.
But
they
anyways,
show a whole thing on it.
That's the debut is this Wednesday. If anybody's interested, I know I am not. Travis seems to be very excited for it.
Really?
But I am not. I do not care.
I'll watch it. I could care less.
Then they had an actual match. So the first match of the night was, lo and behold, the Usos. What? Versus A-Town Down Under.
Penitentiary.
And A-Town Down Under, of course, is Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. So what's weird is it's the Usos, meaning it's Jay and Jimmy.
Right,
so is this a weird tickle your fancy that they're possibly going to put them back together as tag team champions?
I would hope they do it right after Mania.
Or something of that nature. Like, is this their way of putting it out there? This is a possibility that it's going to be.
What I would personally like to see is, and it's just like all the old storytelling, is Jay to put on a decent match, Gunther to win, and then the Usos go back together. But at the end of the show, Roman comes out, make it night 2, that match, and then have Roman wrestle night 1, and then have Roman come out and basically get in Gunther's face, and then have Gunther lose to Roman at SummerSlam or whatever, but with the bloodline back together. And I think it would just work better.
Chris is in the chat, says, "Hey guys." Hey Chris, good to see you tonight. And Robbie says the Uso reunion. Yeah. Travis, didn't you watch some of this one? Wasn't this one that you
Yes, this is where I turned it on. Well, I turned it on during that CM Punk thing. That you were
okay.
But, yeah, this one is... So, what happened is Jay wrestled the last few weeks against the other guys, Grayson and Theory. And they made them short, little quick matches. Well, anyways, then it was a tag team match. Well, he needed a partner, and so he had a mystery partner, and nobody knew who his partner was going to be. And I don't know who Jay Uso thinks his partner would be. But anyway, Jimmy shows up, of course. Crowd goes mild, and boom. Actually, that crowd was pretty good. I mean, nowhere near as good as the Bologna one, but it was definitely good.
Nice.
And then the match started, and it went exactly the way you would think it would go. The only way that Theory and Waller got ahead in any way was, cheap shots
right.
and stuff, and the Usos obviously won.
Yeah, they won via pinfall.
Yeah, I mean, no sweat. I don't
Right.
remember who they picked.
Which is normal, right? Because they've been tag team guys together for 30 years, whatever.
Absolutely
I don't know how long.
should
But
dominate.
forever, right? They've been tag team guys. Anyways, Chris says, I'm heading to bed. I got a new mattress because my air mattress popped last night. Aww. So you had a horrible night's sleep. I'm sorry to hear that, bud. So just decided to get a new bed. Only $506 at Walmart for bed and bed frame. Wow,
yeah.
So you got yourself an actual bed then. Good for you, Chris. No more air mattresses for you, buddy. No more air mattresses.
That's awesome.
Robbie says CM Punk contract signing next week. WWE cutting Raw short these days. No, it's actually Robbie. The only one when it went to Netflix, it was 3 hours. Was the very first one. After that, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Mostly around 2 hours and 30 minutes has been pretty much the average time that they've been.
Just whenever it can end after that main event.
Not really that short. All right, and then they went back to the back showing Dominik Mysterio. He's talking with the rest of the Judgment Day. He's feeling bad, I guess. About him costing Finn Balor the Intercontinental Championship. I guess so he feels like it's his responsibility, and then Liv tells him that Finn is always blaming someone else for his problems, so not to really take it too much to heart, supposedly.
How she was saying it wasn't like Finn's a dick, so don't listen to him. It was more like along the lines of like, yeah, you know how Finn can get,
Right.
Explaining it like a friend would.
Yeah. Liv starts hyping up Raquel as she prepares for her championship match. And Liv still wants Daddy Dom to talk to Penta regardless of how Finn feels. Yes. So she's wanting him to talk to him to see if he'll be part of their little group no matter what. Then they did another a vignette of El Grande Americano.
This dude is something special.
Who hails from the Gulf of America.
If you've ever liked Lucha Libre, this guy is definitely one of the top.
He was raised to become the ultimate luchador for many years. He was the face of Lucha Libre. The legend has returned to bring honor and glory back to this beautiful sport. He's an icon, a trailblazer. He is El Grande Americano. Yes. So there you go. And then they go to Adam Pearce, who we know is the GM, informs the LWO that El Grande Americano will be the newest superstar joining the Raw roster. Rey Mysterio still believes that's Chad Gable. Gable joins the conversation.
Yep. He had a doctor's note.
He doesn't have the energy to argue with LWO. Someone got him sick during the European tour.
Yeah, he was too sick.
So Gable gave Pierce a doctor's note because he can't compete tonight. Ray tells Gable that he'll see him in the parking lot, and Gable suggests that Dragon Lee fights El Grande Americano instead. Pierce makes the match official by throwing a chair, and then Ray calls Gable a real jackass. Pierce is not buying this doctor's note. Everybody thinks it's Gable. I don't think it is. It can't be Chad Gable. It's not him. Anyways, Robbie's bitching and moaning about how they said it was 3 hours. Piccolo's now in the chat. Hey, Piccolo says, hey, Gabbers, how's your Monday going? I'm still working on the deck project. I'll show you some pics. DM you in a few. Perfect, awesome. Piccolo. You show us those pics. I bet it's turning out really nice. Robbie says, Raquel, just not convincing. Probably not. So
she doesn't have anything. Like, there's no it at all. Like, not even a little bit. Like,
of it?
But she can still be a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she can still be an enforcer. She can still be the uber heel.
Yeah, she can still do
not.
stuff.
She's not.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like Kevin Nash, basically.
So the second match of the whole thing was that match.
Yes.
The Lyra Valkyria, the champion, that's the women's intercontinental champion versus Raquel Rodriguez with Liv on the sideline.
It's Rack Rod, but yes.
So Travis watched this too, so if you can remember.
No, I remember it. It was a lot of them talking about how big and powerful Rack Rod was and how Valkyria doesn't fare well against stronger, bigger women, as last year's tournament showed, as Nia Jax eliminated her from the tournament last year.
Oh.
And anyways, match did go one-sided for a while, but it did flip back. And then with the addition of Liv Morgan at ringside, Valkyria just couldn't stay in the right state of mind, and so she was distracted.
Mm.
But that ended up costing Rackrod in the end, and then with a fruit roll-up. Basically, it was pretty quick. I don't think there was anything special. There's no memorable moment from the match where you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, it looks like that Liv had attacked Valkyria from behind. Then the Judgment Day gangs up on Valkyria, and then Bayley storms into the ring to make the save.
That was at the end.
So Bayley hits the middle rope stunner on Morgan. Rodriguez drives her knee into the midsection of Bayley. Rodriguez goes for the Tijuana bomb, but Valkyria gets in the way. Bayley and Valkyria dumps Rodriguez over the top rope. Bayley gives Lyra a fist bump. But, yeah, so that happened after the fact. But, yes, Lyra Valkyria, still the women's Intercontinental Champion.
Retained.
As of now, via pinfall. Then they talked about Pat McAfee, gave him some congratulations for selling out his Big Night AHT event at the PBG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on April 9th. Will be a streaming event that you can see on YouTube.
Or X or something else as well. And it's on a Wednesday.
Oh, lovely.
Wednesday.
Whatever.
I don't even know what the hell it is. So.
Congratulations to the Natural Disasters, who are the latest inductees in the 2025 Hall of Fame. And then they did a recap of last week's contract signing with all the world champion, fake champion, Sky with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. So, all that garbage, if anybody was really interested to know
I
what
can tell you what happened
shit.
here. So Adam Pierce, he came out and he said, hey, look, I have a way to fix this. And then he was talking about how shit's just been going down, and he didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to say how he's going to fix it, and Io Sky music starts up.
Okay.
And she comes down to the ring. She gets in the ring, and then she says, I don't care. I'll wrestle both of them at WrestleMania. I don't care. Let's just do it that way. Obviously, in broken English, but you get the point.
Right.
She's okay to wrestle both of them, and she doesn't care.
Okay.
Well, he goes to talk. He's like, well, I've got to... And Bianca's music starts. So he doesn't get it out. And Bianca comes down. She's like, oh, no. And then she's like, I didn't, win Elimination Chamber and earn my spot, to have a triple threat match, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And Pierce is like, well, yeah, but I have a solution, so here it is. And then Rhea Ripley's music starts. And so, anyways, as Rhea Ripley comes down to the ring, she is, like, uber upset, and she goes right to Postman Pierce, and she's like, look, dude, I want my rematch. And he's like, you've wanted your rematch. I've been trying to get you a rematch done for 3 weeks. Like, what the fuck? Like, now you want your rematch?
Right.
She's like, I don't care about WrestleMania. WrestleMania means nothing. I want my rematch, And he's like, I've been trying to get you to do your rematch for 3 weeks. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, anyway, so they set up his grandiose idea is that there will be a one-on-one next week between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
That is going to be the main, or not main event, but it's going to be a wrestling match next week. Are you okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm rolling my eyes about the whole rematch.
Right, and so
I'm sorry.
So everybody was okay with that, and as they have been showing that Io's kind of that third wheel, like she's not important. The same thing happened today. They pushed her by her face, and she fell on her butt, and then they all kind of beat each other up at the end, and Bianca was the last woman standing. That's how that ended.
Oh, okay.
There is something more, and you'll probably see it, so just let me know. It'll be after something else later.
Okay.
And I'll tell you then, unless you want me just to skip to it now.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
It happens in the back.
Yeah. So then I guess they go to the back and they see Jimmy was talking to Jay.
Yes.
And Jimmy doesn't know why Jay's been all in his head over the past couple of weeks. Jay hit that dive for 15 years, and last week he became a meme. Which he did. He looks so stupid.
Yeah, and he tripped tonight just at the end of the mat when he was fighting Gunther.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't even think we talked about that, did we, after the tag team match? Gunther attacked him. And
No.
yeah, after the tag team match.
I don't even know if it was in there.
Gunther attacked him, and there was a big old fight ensued. But it was, he went to like come out of the corner and he tripped and fell, but it was obviously staged.
Oh.
As he had done that last week, so now he's not sure of himself. He's very doubting his abilities.
Loses his footing.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's very.
So he's trying to play. He's trying to play off his actual botches. I'm not all there. Yeah. So they're trying to gloss it over, but in all reality, he fucking botched. He almost. Not only did he almost ruin his own career, he could have hurt and somebody else and ruined their career. So yeah, he deserves every meme, and he deserves to be made fun of at every angle. That is what he deserves. You cannot be in this business for as long as you have. Do something like that and then think that you can gloss it over to make fun of it like it's a joke. Fuck you.
Joke.
Anyways, so blah, blah, blah. Did he have this shot ready and he slipped? So Jay thinks he knows where Jimmy is coming from, but the truth is Jay doesn't know if he can beat Gunther. Right. And Jimmy says that the version of Jay can't get the job done, but the right-hand man can, and the Uso Jimmy needs to see is the guy that became main event Jey Uso, the guy that won the Royal Rumble. Jimmy proceeds to challenge Gunther to a match next week. Yeah. Gunther accepts Jimmy's challenge as long as he doesn't trip like his brother.
And then smack.
Jimmy slaps Gunther in the face and walks away.
Oh no, it wasn't like a smack in the face. It was a fucking wallop. I was like, holy shit.
So he had his feel-bads hurt.
I don't know, but Gunther, when he started smiling and laughing, had just a huge red mark on the side of his face.
Well, I'm sure they'll either make Jimmy win or something stupid.
Gunther will smash him.
He better, but they'll make it like this really long thing.
It will. It'll be a longer match, but he will lose.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see.
You don't have the champion losing heading into WrestleMania.
Robbie says, I think I will pass. More frauds in the Hall of Shame. Robbie also says, Io Sky will care when she gets clarted. Janelle is in the chat. Hey, Janelle says, even though my friend passed away a couple days ago, I'm sorry to hear about your loss, buddy. And was supposed to go to WrestleMania to get there. That was his one wish. Should I still go? It's kind of hard. Well, yeah. Yes, you should go. And think of your friend the whole time that you're there and how wonderful
you could always put his face on a t-shirt. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how if that's disrespectful or anything, but I have seen it. And people
take a sign in remembrance and put your friend's name on there. You know, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff like
his name wishes he was here.
Your friend wouldn't want you to not go and enjoy something because he's not there to do it with you.
Right.
He would want you to go. So, yeah. I know it's hard, though. We understand that. Pico says, dang, so sorry for your loss, Janelle. And then Robbie says, oh, Gunther will destroy Uso. Jenna Tillis, or Richard, is in the chat, says, great news, guys. Megan Bean asked me to marry her. I said, yes, you guys are all invited to the wedding.
Woo!
Cool beans.
We'll live stream that.
Is she going to wear her normal wrestling attire as her wedding outfit? Just out of curiosity.
Looking like a glamazon.
She going to have, like, her headdress and shit? Anyway, so they had the Jimmy stuff, and then they kind of panned to Dominik Mysterio stuff. He making his official offer to Penta to join the Judgment Day. Dom says that he can help Penta become the Intercontinental Champion tonight.
As soon as tonight,
ooh, yeah. He's totally going behind Finn Balor's back. We'll see how all that works out for everybody. And then, of course, we had the Adam Pearce stuff with Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair segment that Travis was talking about. Where everybody was talking, yada, yada, yada. That all happened. Blah, blah, blah. And then, Bianca comes out on top or whatever, but I guess there's breaking news about it.
Yeah, but it comes later in the show.
They talk about it there. So let me see.
Well, anyways, I'll just say. In the back, Bianca comes in to talk to Pierce and says, look, this is just getting out of hand. And he's like, you know what? You're right. He's like, that's why you're going to be in the middle of the match. You're going to be the referee. And she's like, I don't know how to be a referee. He's like, well, you got a week to learn.
Yeah.
So
that they kind of threw it in there, even though it might have happened later. They
Yeah.
kind of put it in after that to probably keep it all together. But yeah, so Bianca Belair will now be the special guest referee for the Io Sky Rhea Ripley Women's World Championship rematch next week. Then they had a War Raiders vignette, probably talking about how awesome they are or aren't, I guess. I have no idea. And then, of course, the New Day Storms, which I think they need to change their name to the Old Day, storms into Adam Pearce's office.
this is where it happened.
And they're demanding a shot for the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania. Pierce says that when New Day is ready to earn an opportunity, then they can discuss business. At the meantime, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you.
Yeah.
Woods tells Pierce to take his blood medication.
Right. And then he said, well, go get me some water.
I don't understand that.
So go get me some water.
Blood medication?
Yeah, your heart. Blood pressure.
Oh, that's just silly. Robbie says, so we know that match is rigged now. I guess. Then a third match.
Okay, so after the New Day leave,
okay,
Bianca Belair comes in.
Oh, that's when she comes in.
And then.
Okay, so it wasn't too much after that.
Yeah.
All right, so the third match of the night, which is crazy, they had all that shit happen, and they only are at the third match, is El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio.
Dragon Lee flat out got his ass whooped by this legendary
Luchador guy from the Gulf of America?
Gulf of America.
Nice.
America Grande, whatever. He whooped this dude. I mean, it was an okay match, but he, America Grande ripped his mask off and then put him and just twisted his foot almost all the way around, and he just tapped.
Oh, my.
Maskless and all. Just
maskless and all.
He's trying to cover his face and
rips off his mask and puts him in the ankle lock.
Yeah.
So the Americano El Grande guy wins via submission.
Yeah, in his first match. So he is basically 1-0 in his new legendary return.
Robbie says that was a great lyric. Dragon Lee needs to up his game weak as F.
Yeah, he needs to.
Then they had a video recap of Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins brawl from last week's SmackDown because we have to know what happened there. And then Seth Rollins is going to be a special guest co-host for Good Morning Football on the NFL Network tomorrow, Wednesday, if anybody's interested in watching any of that garbage. Then, of course, they have a CM Punk promo. If you're a big CM Punk fan, you might want to see and watch probably the video of it, recap of it, or whatever. I'm sure they have it if you're a CM Punk fan. I know that there's some out there, so you probably better do it. But he talks about being alive, and it's Glasgow, and unfortunately, while I'm happy to be here, it's always awesome to spend quality time with my friends, but I'm not in a good mood. I'm pissed off, he says. But it's hard to be mad when you come out to that kind of ovation. Mm-hmm. He's jet-lagged and tired. He's playing the victim, basically, and complaining about his life. Because he's old, so it makes sense. Said something about Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber. La, la, la. And talking about how it's personal. It's just business.
Yeah, it's basically like, he's like, well, I guess I'm in a match at WrestleMania. Did you guys see that vignette or whatever? That poster. Did you guys see that poster? I guess I have a match at WrestleMania, because he's like, I didn't know how I was going to get to WrestleMania, but I guess I have a match now. The crowd kind of goes mild. And then he says that it's personal between those two, and I'm just like in it.
Okay.
You know, almost like I don't fit. But anyway.
And he goes, so he says something that they're going to have themselves a good old-fashioned contract signing. And then
Next
the crowd's
week.
booing.
Yeah, next
And
week.
he's like, you're booing because you wanted it here.
Tonight.
Well, so did I. And that's why I'm here.
Yay.
I can't wait to get my hands on this contract. He wants to read that fine print.
Yeah.
And see what it gets him any closer to what he wants. Which who knows what it could be. But remember, he still has a favor from old Paul Heyman Twinkie Tits. So there's that. Yeah. He says he'll see him at the contract signing in London, but before you put pen to paper, I want you to listen to two things and understand them very well. Here they are. 1, neither of you have ever defeated me without the other one's help because you can't. And the last thing I brought into this business, I cannot wait to be the man that takes you both out of it.
Yeah, he brought them both.
Best in the world. He's talking to Seth and Roman, by the way, which I'm sure you guys know, but we'll say that anyways. Then they talk about what Travis said in the earlier about next week's Raw will be airing at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because of the time change in the daylight saving time change over in Europe area. And then Logan Paul will be calling out AJ Styles next week. But that's going to be fucking weird as fuck.
And his soccer mom haircut.
Oh.
That's what he said.
Oh, AJ has a soccer mom haircut.
Yeah, he says you and your soccer mom haircut.
Oh, also next week on Raw, Gunther will battle Jimmy Uso. They'll have another confrontation with Cody Rhodes and John. Plus, Io Sky puts her Women's World Championship on the line against Rhea, and Bianca Belair serving as a special guest referee. Braun Breaker tells Kathy Kelly that he's not concerned whether or not Penta joins the Judgment Day. He's going to take care of business, and the dogs will be barking in Glasgow. Jey Uso will be a special guest on the Raw Recap podcast tomorrow if anybody's interested. And the fourth match of the night is Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental champion versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. And here you go. Dun, dun. What happened?
That's your main event. And then it's over after that.
Oh, okay. So that's it? We don't have to say anymore?
Yeah, it's over.
You don't want to talk about the match?
No, the match was fine. It went exactly how you think it would go. Like, the match came down to whether or not there was going to be Judgment Day involvement because of the invitation by Penta. So, basically, it was a decent match. Breaker, to me, looked like he was the better wrestler, but it was good. It lasted a while. It seemed like it lasted like a half hour. But the Judgment Day interfered.
Oh, of course.
And so Dominik jumped on the apron, the referee came over, and then Carlito jumped up, and Braun threw him in the ring, and then they were going to fight. And then Braun went after Dom, and then basically they just said, fuck it, so they just jumped him. And then the referee rang the bell, so it was a disqualification. So Penta lost.
Oh.
And then Penta was in the corner, and then Finn came out and started beating up Braun with a chair. And then he looked like he was going to hit Dom with the chair. He like stepped towards him with the chair, but then turned it around and handed it to Dom, and then Dom hit Braun a couple times. And then then Dom went over to Penta and handed him the chair. With Penta understanding that he is supposed to hit Braun, but he didn't. He actually gave the chair to Dom, but he kind of threw it to him and then kicked him in the face with a thrust kick. And then Finn, like, obviously attacked him and then hit him with the coup de grace. And then told Dom, like, look, you're an idiot. Don't be an idiot. And he helped him off the ground, and that was kind of basically it. I was thinking that was going to happen. So this is what I thought, and which would have been better booking, in my opinion, because it's still the same booking, but just better.
Right.
Is they could have easily had Braun leave, because he had nothing to do with that.
Right.
Whether he got hit and then left or whatever, none of my business type of attitude. He leaves. Obviously, now that he's been hit, it is his business.
Right.
So Finn Balor is his business.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like there's going to be a triple threat there.
Oh, okay.
Between those three. But since we don't need Penta in a title match, they could have easily done Penta dirty, right? Just beat the shit out of them, all three of those guys. Then Rey Fenix shows up.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Right? And it would have just, the crowd would have went crazy. It would have been great. And I don't know, like, are they waiting for a Mexico City show or something? Like, they're in Europe, for fuck's sakes. He's already signed. Bring him on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're waiting for.
And maybe that's the 4 with the smoke.
Maybe.
But anyways, obviously, those two need to be together. And then it would make more sense for Braun to wrestle Finn, and then Dom and Carlito to wrestle the Lucha Bros. Right? I mean...
Yeah.
Simple, done, complete, everything. I mean, obviously, Carlito and Dom don't stand a chance, but that's okay. You're just the glue that's going to put them together real quick, and then they're going to move on and run roughshod all over the tag team division.
Yeah. So that was the last match of the Raw stuff. The winner was still by disqualification Braun Breaker, so he keeps the Intercontinental Championship. The show did only run 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 27 seconds.
Yeah, a little bit longer than last week, but not a lot.
Yeah, not very long. Anyways, we had Sophie come in the chat, says,
Sophie.
hi, hello. Robbie said Dragon Lee needs to up his game as weak as fuck. We read that, but Picola says, but I'm a real Glass fan. Piss off, Jungle, jack off. And Robbie says Judgment Day not as strong as they once was. Sophie says after next week, Raw will be back on its regular time at 8. Picola says I am curious what direction JD is going and where they will be slotted at Mania. Sophie says wait till Raw takes place in Australia. Robbie says we knew Judgment Day would get involved. Sophie says the natural disasters are going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
These early Raws are kind of weird. I can't wait till things go back to normal with Raw going back to 8 p.m.
Right.
Hassan Terrell is in the chat, says hi there guys, happy spring. Happy spring to you too, Hassan. Thanks for hanging out with us for just a second. We're just finishing up our recap of what happened on Raw and all the winners. Raleigh says hi, Dee and Travis. Hello, Raleigh. Sophie says after next week, the next time Raw will be international will be the end of August. Hassan says, and I see you guys on Wednesday night on Evolve on Tubi Network and AEW Dynamite Road to AEW Dynasty.
There you go.
Picola says it smells like John Cena's salty butthole after he stays in the god-awful Peacemaker show. So I'm going to take off. Chuck up the deuces. It's because you've been working hard, man. Raleigh says, I think it's going to be a fatal 4-way Finn versus Penta versus Braun versus Dom Mysterio at Mania, but just my prediction.
Could be. It'd be interesting to see that. The Judgment Day breakup there.
True. So just as a quick recap of everything, the first match of the night was the Usos versus A-Town Down. The Usos did win that. The next one was Lyra Valkyria, the Women's International Intercontinental Champion versus Raquel. Lyra did retain her championship and cap it. The third match of the night was El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee. El Grande Americano won that. And the fourth match was a Braun Breaker versus Penta, and Braun Breaker did win by disqualification. Supposedly, Drew McIntyre was out there at some point.
Maybe it was before.
Oh, well, didn't you show me pictures or something of him out there?
No.
Oh.
Not that I'm aware of.
Huh, weird.
The guy in the kilt was McAfee.
Oh, McAfee was out there. Oh, that was him doing it. What a freak. All right. Anyways, that is our recap for Raw for tonight, guys. We're not going to stick around because we're not watching it. But you can watch the replay of it on Netflix if you do have Netflix. And if not, I don't know what to tell you. Go online and see some shows on there, or YouTube blurbs or whatever. Anyways, Robbie says Cena for once had a decent shirt on. All the last time is now. Riley says I love these early Raws because in the UK it's 8 p.m. start better than 1 a.m. Yay.
Oh, I bet.
Robbie's like rehash trash. Yep, that's my rehash trash. And Sophie says there are a lot of mixed feelings regarding these afternoon Raws. Riley says agree, Sophie. It's afternoon for you in the USA. Sophie says I leave these early Raws too, but there aren't that many watch-along channels that aren't around like they usually are when Raw takes place at night. Yes, because we live in the States and a lot of us have jobs during the day, or some people maybe don't have access to Netflix because you just don't. Anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out with us for this little bit. We really appreciate it. We're going to be back again on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. We'll be doing that live, of course, as normal. So please join us then if you want to. If not, we'll see you on Friday. But for now,